A heavy rainstorm extinguished my hopeless romanticism. In my previous life, I was backstabbed by my boyfriend and washed away in despair in the rain. But this time, I will sit inside my safe fortress, watching my boyfriend's family tear each other apart. The continuous rainstorm lasted for 2 months. Flood waves swept through the entire city. My boyfriend's family and I were trapped in our apartment complex. When we finally waited until the rescue team arrived, my boyfriend, Mal Bufon, said there wasn't enough room on the inflatable boat. He pushed me off the tall building. The overwhelming floodwaters poured into my nose and mouth, making me unable to breathe. My consciousness slowly blurred. Opening my eyes again, I was actually reborn back to the eve of the rainstorm. That suffocating feeling seemed to still linger around me. I gasped heavily for air. But my boyfriend sitting in front of the computer didn't seem to notice anything unusual about me, and just spoke to himself. You. My mom and sister are coming in a few days. Clean up a room for them to sleep in." Looking at his familiar silhouette, I finally came back to my senses. I straightforwardly refused, then turned around and walked back to my room to inventory the supplies I had prepared for the rainstorm. My gaze swept over the neatly stacked antibacterial sanitary pads in the storage box. I suddenly remembered those days trapped in my past life. My period coincided with power and water outages. I could only tough it out using crumpled tissues. It was stuffy and itchy. That helpless and miserable feeling. I never want to experience it again in this life. This time, I definitely must not suffer the same hardships. I prepared these high-quality, certified antibacterial sanitary pads in advance. They use a slightly acidic surface layer that better fits healthy private parts, gently inhibiting bacteria, keeping me away from menstrual discomfort. After inventorying the supplies, I walked back to the living room. Mal Bufon was still waiting for me to yield. Seeing me come in, he immediately frowned again. "What exactly do you mean? I pay the rent for this apartment. I do not agree to let them come." Mal Bufon, seeing that I didn't back down just because he was unhappy, got even angrier. "My mom works so hard to raise me. She just wants to come stay with us for a while. Are you even human?" I looked at his serious, morally kidnapping expression and laughed out of anger. "That's your mom, not my mom. Her hardships were not caused by me. You know how to feel sorry for your mom. Don't I know how to feel sorry for mine? Why is it that every time my mom comes over, you just act cold and ignore her?" Hearing this, he knew he was in the wrong, so he could only turn his head and snort coldly. I knew he wanted to give me the silent treatment, to force me to bow my head. I walked straight out of the room, getting ready for the incoming rainstorm. A little while later, Mal Bufon angrily left the house with his phone. However, he forgot that he was still logged into WeChat on his computer. I accidentally saw his family group chat, which was entirely focused on messages about how to secretly get me pregnant. My face instantly darkened. This group of people was truly rotten to the core. I come from a wealthy family, while Mal Bufon's family is poor. We met in college. I never felt he was any different from me. But Mal Bufon had a deep inferiority complex. After graduation, he stayed in this city to work. He said he wanted to live with me. And I, blindly in love, ignored my family's objections, moved out and lived with him. But I never expected that my tolerance out of love made me look like an easy target in his eyes. After parting on bad terms that day, I quietly packed my bags every day, planning to move out immediately once his family arrived. Sure enough, on the exact same day as in my past life, Mal Bufon's mother and sister arrived. Mal Bufon wanted to act first and report later, forcing me to compromise. But when I saw his mother and sister arrive with all their bags, my face instantly darkened. I walked straight into the bedroom and slammed the door heavily. My reaction left them staring at each other in dismay. Mal Bufon's face also turned black. My attitude made him lose face completely in front of his mother. And by this time, I had already packed my things. "You Boomian, my mom is here." What kind of attitude is this? I looked up and glanced at him. My tone neither cold nor hot. Whatever attitude you show me is the attitude I show your mom. This really enraged him. His face flushed red, and he raised his hand, wanting to hit me. I beat him to it, slapping him heavily across the face. A crisp sound echoed through the room. Not expecting me to hit him, Mao Bufan was completely stunned. I spat at him. "You actually thought about hitting me? Screw you. Let's break up, you scumbag." Saying that, while he was still in a daze, I grabbed my suitcase and walked right out. It wasn't until I left the rented apartment that I finally breathed a sigh of relief. After leaving the apartment, I immediately called a car to take me back to my parents' house. Just as I got out of the car and was about to pull my suitcase home, I saw my parents at the door, also just coming home. Seeing me come home, my parents looked pleasantly surprised. They hurriedly came to greet me. But after seeing the suitcase I was dragging, my parents' expressions changed. My dad moved his lips and asked, "My precious daughter, what happened to you?" Mao Bufan and I broke up. Hearing this, my parents nervously scanned me. Seeing that I looked normal, they breathed a sigh of relief. "It's okay. A breakup is just a breakup. Our Yu deserves better." My dad comforted me while taking the suitcase from my hand. My heart felt warm. Indeed, only my parents are my eternal safe harbor. After returning home, my dad happily showed off his cooking skills, cooking a whole table full of dishes for me. As I ate this lavish meal, I thought about the days in my past life when I worked like a horse for Mao Bufan's ungrateful family. I was truly foolish. I abandoned a good life just to willingly throw myself at them. My parents kept putting food in my bowl. It wasn't long before I was full. Putting down my chopsticks, I told my parents about the impending rainstorm. "You're saying that soon? We will have a rainstorm lasting for 2 months?" Hearing my words, my parents couldn't help but click their tongues. We live in a rainy area. It often rains in the summer. But a rainstorm lasting 2 months? That is unheard of. I thought they wouldn't believe it, and was just thinking of what reason to use to convince them. But my dad looked serious. "Then we have to prepare early. If it rains for 2 months, it will be hard to buy things when the time comes." I didn't expect that without me even explaining much. They would already believe it. Sigh. You used to be so infatuated with that boy. To suddenly break up, something big must have happened. "Whatever you say, Mom and Dad believe you," my mom said with a smile, obviously happy that I left Mao Bufan. My parents had never liked Mao Bufan, thinking he was no good. I always thought it was just my parents' prejudice. But it turns out I was the blind one. Early the next morning, I bought various everyday medicines online, so we wouldn't be left without medication if we got sick at home. Then I drove to a wholesale market in the suburbs, far from the city center. Using the excuse that my company was preparing relief supplies for mountainous areas, I purchased a massive amount of goods. Considering there would be power outages, I bought 30 boxes of candles, 20 solar-powered charging lights, 20 high-capacity power banks, 2 boxes of matches, 2 boxes of lighters, and 2 boxes of windproof ignition guns. 500 pounds of rice, 50 pounds of flour, 20 boxes of dried noodles, 20 boxes of instant noodles, 200 cases of water, various dried vegetables, chicken claws, duck necks, potato chips, beef jerky, rice noodles, vermicelli, beverages, coffee, and all kinds of canned goods. Tissue paper, sanitary pads, Disposable underwear, shampoo, body wash, facial cleanser, toothpaste, toothbrushes, skincare products, and all kinds of medicines I could think of. Gauze, disinfectants. Of course, as a girl who loves meat. Meat could not be missing. Chicken wings, pork ribs, chicken, beef meatballs, fish skin dumplings, and other frozen foods. I bought dozens of pounds, afraid that eating too well would affect our health. My dad even specifically bought a treadmill, so we could exercise appropriately. With hard supplies purchased, we also needed mental supplies. I bought over a dozen tablets and laptops, and had the staff help me download Ubumian's doomsday animations, as well as various single-player games, TV shows, novels, and movies. After taking care of these, my dad ran all over the city to buy pepper spray for self-defense, stun guns, and other self-defense items. Then he had someone change our home security door directly into a steel alloy, bank-grade blast-proof door, and added security bars to the windows, maxing out our safety factor. After spending several days arranging everything properly, we collapsed onto the sofa, exhausted and panting. Suddenly, a boom of thunder split the long dry sky. It started to rain. A few days later, when I was walking home under an umbrella, I unexpectedly saw Mal Bufan's figure downstairs at my building. I silently cursed my bad luck in my heart, and was just trying to walk around him to go home. However, sharp-eyed Mal Bufan saw me, and walked over. "Ubumian, why haven't you come looking for me these past few days? I don't believe you truly want to break up with me. What are you doing?" My dad roared and immediately stepped in front of me to shield me. "Let me tell you, don't you dare come pestering my daughter again. Otherwise I will beat you every time I see you." Looking at my dad's sturdy physique, Mal Bufan, under my dad's scolding, could only walk away dejectedly. But based on what I know about him, this wouldn't be the last time. The rainstorm had already lasted for half a month. With the continuous heavy rain, the city's drainage system was approaching its limit. There was more and more water on the streets. The water level gradually rose from the road surface to the ankles, and then from the ankles up to the calves. I was lying on the sofa swiping through a tablet, and unexpectedly found that Mal Bufan's account was still logged in, and the group chat logs between him and his family were actually shared to this tablet. Looking at their family's chats, I gained a whole new understanding of this group of people's shamelessness. "Son, I've run to all the nearby supermarkets and couldn't buy anything. How about you go find that Ubumian? She's a local. She definitely has ways to find supplies. Her parents won't let me see her. They said they beat me every time they see me. Didn't that little girl from the house next door come with us too? Have her go out and find someone for help. She's just a little country girl. Who could she find to help? Use her to trade for supplies. She is so young. Men in the city would definitely be willing to trade supplies for her." Seeing this, I felt like I was struck by lightning over and over again. What shocked me was that the sister Mal Bufan spoke of was actually just a younger girl from his neighborhood. But what shocked me even more was that Mal Bufan's family could actually come up with the vicious idea of selling her to exchange for supplies. I couldn't help but shudder. In my past life, if I hadn't run my legs off buying the last bit of supplies, would the person they talked about pushing out to trade for supplies have turned into me? Just as I was shocked by the cruelty and shamelessness of this family, Mal Bufan reached out to me. "Yu, are you there?" When I received his message, I felt so disgusted on the spot that I wanted to throw my phone away. But I didn't reply to him, yet he sent me several more messages in a row. "Yu, I miss you so much. I can't live without you. Yu, I know I was wrong. Let's start over, okay?" I blocked him directly. I thought this would make him back down, knowing the difficulties. After all, his abilities were not strong, but his ego was quite huge. In the past, Whenever I bought something slightly expensive, I couldn't let him see it. Otherwise, he would feel that I was mocking him for not being able to afford such expensive things. According to this personality of his, seeing that I blocked him, it would be weird if he didn't blow up. Since he cares about his pride, he probably wouldn't come to harass me again. Just like this, we lived in peace for half a month. The continuous heavy rain pushed the water level to as high as 1.8 meters. The first floor was completely submerged. Fortunately, our area is considered a rainy zone, so normally no one lives on the first floor. Moreover, our floor is relatively high. We had plenty of supplies and adequate protection measures. Except for not being able to go out, there was no significant change compared to our previous lives. But I didn't dare to let my guard down either. The rainstorm still had to last for another month. Just entering the second month, the rain fell even heavier. I thought he would never appear in front of me again in this life, but Mao Bufan actually changed to a new phone number and found me again. You, I beg you, please help me. We have absolutely nothing left at home. I know it was my fault, but right now I'm in a time of crisis. Save me, you Bumian. If we don't get something to eat, my mom is going to starve to death. You wouldn't just leave us to die, would you? He sent several messages consecutively, all morally kidnapping me. It seems he had truly reached a dead end. To prevent him from continuing to bother me, I replied to his message. I saw all your previous chat logs. Stop looking for me, you really disgust me. After sending the message, I blocked him directly. The rainstorm poured for another month. At home, my parents and I happily ate and drank. 2 months passed. I hadn't even finished watching the super long Doomsday compilation on my tablet. We did eat quite a bit of the vegetables and meat in the fridge though. Perhaps because our building was relatively new, and its facilities were quite sound. Even though the rainstorm had been going on for 2 months, the electricity and network facilities still worked. I was bored, lounging in my room playing games. Calculating the days, it was now almost the day I was pushed off the building in my past life. Even now, thinking about the events of my past life still left me with lingering fear. So as not to let my imagination run wild, I opened a short video app. I didn't expect that right upon opening it, I'd scroll into a local rescue livestream. And what was even more coincidental was that Mao Bufan was actually in the livestream. They had no idea they were being live streamed. Standing on the rooftop of the rented building, they were drenched like drowned rats, but their eyes were full of hope. The rescue team arrived. They were saved, just as everyone was filled with joy. Splash! Mao Bufan's mother was caught off guard and was pushed off the building by that so-called sister. The heavy sound of falling into the water made Mao Bufan panic. Suddenly, shouts and screams echoed endlessly. However, the culprit still stood on the rooftop laughing wildly, not feeling at all that she had taken a life, or that it was any big deal. I watched the whole process in front of the screen. I was very surprised, but more than that, I felt an indescribable sense of satisfaction. I wonder if when they pushed me off the building in my past life, they ever thought they would also face this day themselves. The rescue team was short on time and had heavy tasks. They could only rescue Mao Bufan and that sister. Mao Bufan acted crazy on the rescue boat, wanting to fight and tear at his sister. However, his sister didn't have the slightest bit of fear. In fact, after seeing that the rescue team members were live streaming, she deliberately cried into the camera about her ordeal during this time, about how Mao Bufan and his mother forced her to go out and find men to trade for supplies. Everyone watching the live stream was shocked. The person running the live stream also panicked and hurriedly turned off the live stream. After watching this live stream, I slumped onto the sofa. I thought, I must have passed this hurdle. This live stream caused a huge uproar online. Mao Bufan's neighbor sister was soon arrested. And Mao Bufan, because of his actions during the rainstorm, got what he deserved. A life where he wouldn't have to worry about food and drink for the rest of his life. 3 days later, the rain stopped. After 2 months, the sun finally made a long-awaited appearance. The crowds let out cheers. Subsequently, with official help, everyone returned to their normal life trajectories.